Welcome to Pop Politics and Culture. We got Dymond studded, Kokopelli in the building, Icon Radio, Respect the Underground, Arizona Hip Hop Fest, Phoenix Hip Hop Festival coming soon in March. Get active, get in contact with me if you in Phoenix or anywhere in the country and you want to be a part of the greatest hip hop festival in Phoenix, Phoenix Hip Hop Festival, Arizona. We got this shit on lock. Respect the Underground. We got Kokopelli in the building though.
What up? Kokopelli over
Kokopelli?
here, Northwest Arizona, representing Native Man Wallapai Nation over here in Arizona. Thank you for having me, Dymond.
I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for spending time with us on this Saturday. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. First name Kokopelli, like just originally, keeping it original. Kokopelli, my original name, artist name, Kokopelli B on Apple Music and such, all in platforms. I'm from northwestern Arizona though, like Peach Springs, little reservations out there. I grew up out there pretty much, and that's right there in the tri-state area. So like the Kingman area, that's like the nearest town outside of Peach Springs. My res, little spot of area that that was left with us that we got out there. For shout out to them people out there, man, my Wallapai people, man. Shout out to West Coast Function Fest. My people out there, Richie Ledrigo out there, putting on for the Function Fest out there in April, coming up. And that's a little beginning about myself, real quick. Kokopelli.
So, keyword, I just heard him say he's from the Wallapai Nation, so that's Native American, and I have never heard a Native American do hip hop music. So this is like something new for me. So like, can you tell me what Native hip hop is? Like that's like a whole new genre. Like you game changing right now, bro.
Yeah, real talk. It's popping out too. Like and it ain't really it ain't like you said. You never heard of a native artist like that. On the hip hop scene like that, and a lot of people don't hear that. I met Eli a year ago, and so when it was like, I never met a native artist. I was like, wow. Like shout out to Antone X, one of the major native artists out from the Northwest and up in the Washington area. Antone X, let's tap in. Whoever, when people get the time, Antone X, Saval the native. Everybody's putting out there. Everybody's putting out there last year right here, June. West Coast Function Fest got put on, and that's one of my first time I got to go see the hip hop scene, like the whole indigenous hip hop scene, and it was a whole different vibe, along because you get the mix, you get the mix of cultural tradition with the with the trap, yeah, you get that, and so when you hear, especially like in this track right here that I got out, Reflections, the one I put out, this was my first single that I put out last month, and it I recorded with Clan, some artists originally from Alaska, and they're based out in Seattle, Washington. Shout out to Clan. I ran into them. So when I hear this Reflections tracks, you hear about, and you hear it a lot in the hip hop scene. Talk about tradition. Talk about you hear political artists talk about the history. Talk about the colonization of what was.
So let's touch on some of that, because I don't think a lot of people really know the history about the colonization of the Native American people and the Native presence here in what's known as North America before it was taken over by the Europeans, primarily the Portuguese, the Spanish, and the French.
Definitely.
So can you tell us a little bit about the history of your people and what happened to them?
Definitely. So Wallapai people originally based out there, like lands as far as like the northwestern area, like I said before, in the Grand Canyon area, along south down, there's areas we won't hear about these areas because they're really small areas located in isolated areas like in Arizona. But as far as like we'll say down to Yuma, as close as Yuma, Colorado River area, a lot of those lands were owned by the five nations, the five Pi people. So when you hear Wallapai, because originally in my language, Wallapai originally mean like in the way in the original language is Wallapai, so it means like people of the tall pines. But the word Pi it means like the people. It's expressing like a tribe. Like the word Pi is like so like Pi is not a single type of people. It's a group of like a group of culture that shares the same type of linguistic background, and so Pi that just represents that people, you know. So you got the Yavapai, you got the Wallapais, you got the Sioux Pies, you got the Pi Pies. These the Pi Pies go as far as down as Mexico, and those are not tribes that are recognized, you know, especially because ever since Mexico became Mexico and the U.S. became the U.S. Like, but you know, like during once a year, they have a pie gathering, and that's in the fall time. But back in so Wallapai people was you know, and different pie peoples was established at different times. But the Wallapai people was originally established as a federally recognized as in the books 1883. Along that time, 1883, you fast forward, it only went down to over 100. So it's been over what 140, just about 140 years now. Yeah, 2023. That's 140 years been established. They came across the it was the damn, what is that, the missionaries that came across right there in the northern Arizona area. You know, you got the Mormon also along with the Mormons, but you know, well, that was right there. That was right before 1880. You know, so you got all of that established before that time, and you're coming into 1883. It's been a process ever since, because ever since that time, I mean, we can come into today and then ask me about myself. You know, I grew up right there on the reservation. It was right in along into the system, because like along like what we see today on the reservation is like you see a lot. I mean, like you see a lot of people dying. You know what I mean? You see a lot of people going because of, you know, whether it be drug addiction, alcohol addiction, violence. You know what I mean? You see, shouts out to the MMIW movement, because coming up in May, there's going to be an event out here in Phoenix that I'm also proud to be a part of. May 6th, where the Warriors Code, it's a Warriors Code Indigenous Treatment Program Center. They're hosting this event where they'll bring awareness to the peoples that of the MMIW movement. Not sure a lot of people ever heard of like the MMIW movement. That's the murdered, missing Indigenous women. There's also movements among there like going along in like I said in May, other different type of awareness that we'll be bringing out here to Phoenix events.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's vital, because there are a lot of murdered, missing, and like indigenous women that have been taken advantage of throughout the country. Like even in Canada, there's a large population of indigenous women that go missing, and they do have these groups that are targeting, trying to locate these women, bring them back home, and hopefully find them without, you know, in one piece. It sucks like what's happening to the native people in general. The fact that you guys were essentially pushed out of your land, you know, forced to live on reservations. And then some of the key things that I heard you talking about was that the people are dying from like drug abuse, alcohol abuse, sicknesses, and various things like that. And we know that the native people were people who lived off of the land. So a lot of sicknesses and a lot of addictions, that wasn't a part of y'all culture. So can you touch upon how like drugs and alcohol was introduced to the native community and how that has affected, you know, your community as a whole?
Definitely. Back when one thing you touched on too, you know, was a lot of we'll go back to the times. We'll go back to those times when when the people migrated over here. We'll go back to that time. You know, you talk about famine and diseases and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that shit, like personally, I go back to it, like a lot of it, like what is a fucking it's like a tactic, you know what I mean? Back in that times, like I look back at that, I look back into these times, and I also look back into other times. I look into times today, how there's similar things going on in the system within the system that is still used today. Um, might I speak on myself when I say this, that being a part of that system. I grew up in that system. I grew up in a system. I grew up in a home of like where it was my people drank themselves to death. You know what I'm saying? So and growing up in that system, growing up seeing the end result. It was like I'm living in that result today. You know what I'm saying? Like from when it was the beginning as to from when this spirit was introduced to my people, and it was like, okay, we'll kill them all, kill them all, and then they see it, and then it's like all right, like I'll mention this too, like some federal lands out here in Arizona, all federal lands out here in Arizona, but I came across federal lands like in northern America, like North America, like up in Montana and such. Like you got alcohol spots, you got bars that are like on the reservations, but you come out here to like Arizona, there's no bars on like open on the res. You know what I mean? Like the alcohol is illegal. And outside over there, up where I'm at, there's like this bar right out or this store right outside my res where they sell alcohol and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it really defeats the purpose to me personally. You know what I mean? But I see what it is. I have my history of drug and alcohol addiction. You know what I mean? I went through a process, dude, and I'll talk about this process. I'll talk about this journey. It started over a year ago. And over a year ago, within that time, I met my bro Eli, producer slash engineer. We talked. We shared amongst. We talked about topics like such, sharing my experience ever since I started my journey. And I wouldn't label this, I wouldn't call it like sobriety or recovery or my life's a journey. You know what I'm saying? My life's a journey. So since I started this journey, it's like sharing that I've been off of the drink. I've been off of it. Like I've been out of that scene. I've been out of all of that. Like so over this time now, coming up over a year and a half now.
Congratulations on your sobriety. You want to celebrate his sobriety. Celebrate his sobriety. Sobriety is a big thing, and once you get done telling your story, I'll give you some information about a sober endeavor that we have out here called Sober Night AZ, and how you can be a part of that as well.
Definitely. I mean, like I'm 420 friendly though, for real. Like, I mean, I'll go about my way because, like, personally, like if I'm not like in that scene, or if I'm not in that life, then I'm straight. I'm productive. You know what I'm saying? But just being productive overall is like the whole idea though. So like getting out of that loop, getting out of that system, man, I get the opportunity to share like what do I do to help, like, so it will break that cycle. You know what I'm saying? For my peoples, like I may not see it in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna make something happen that's gonna like break that cycle for real.
Definitely, definitely. It's all about breaking the cycle and tearing down the generational curses. And I'm so happy to hear somebody talk about how they want to make change and how these things have affected their people and things that you want to do for yourself and then other things to help your community. Like I was saying, we have something out here called Sober Night AZ, where monthly we host a event at the Office Phoenix on 16th Street in Indian School, where it's a night to celebrate sobriety once a month. So we have things like music, DJs, food, musical artists performing. We're doing a sober comedy show. We have Meditate and Paint coming up. Just a lot of activities between the hours of 8 p.m. and midnight, designed for people that are recovering or sober curious, and they want to come out and have good, clean, sober fun. So definitely would like to send you some additional information, potentially get you to come on as one of the artists, so you could perform for the people and tell them your story and, gain a whole new fan base in a good, clean, sober environment. And then we got this
Definitely.
record, Reflections, that you brought in for us. Before we drop the record, can you tell us a little bit about the record and what to expect?
Yeah, definitely. I took a trip out to Seattle last year, back in October. Well, later at end of September, beginning of October time. I can't really put a date on it, but it was around that time. Shouts out to Clan. They invited me out there to the studio, and I'm like, all right, I'll take a trip out there. And, went out to Seattle and stepped into the studio. I had some packs that I had wrote down and everything. I was ready to go step in. So I had this. It's what the cool like the one thing I love about this one though, Reflections. So like right at the end of like the studio time, because we had the time for like the whole day, but like the last hour, just over an hour we had left, and I had this last one to wrap up. I didn't have like anything written down for it, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I was like, I'm just gonna start writing. Fuck it, So I started writing the first part, the first verse, or the hook, and then I got the hook down, and then the first verse. But when I remember hearing this beat right in the car, and one of my bros up back at home, we heard this beat, Reflections, and he was like, "Nah, this is it, bro." He's like, "This is where you start off of this one." I'm like, I didn't start off it, but he's like, "I really like this beat," and I'm like, all right, cool. So I kind of just, and since he liked it, because I know he's got that ear, you know what I mean? So I kind of just like put it to the side real quick. I was like, I'm going to save that one for last. Went through the other ones and then got to this one, wrote, and I'm writing. And then YNG Native, he's in the studio with me along with his cousin, Brandon, Grizzly Brown. But with them too, they have their clan. Clan is an acronym, CLAN, for changing lives around the nation, and they're big on the scene up there with the indigenous hip hop, and shout out to them. But we're in the studio and I'm like working on that first verse and everything, and he's like, let me jump on there. I'm like, all right, yeah, fuck it, let's go, come on, jump on there. It is like, Grizz is like, all right, fuck it, yeah, go on there, and it's like, all right, so I got the hook down. I got my first verse, and YNG he just goes off top and he puts it down in there, and then Grizz wrote his little piece right there at the last minute, and we just laid it down right then and there. It was like within the 30 minutes and stuff like that. It's like the last 30 minutes, we're sitting back watching.
I'm excited to hear this record.
We watched Nook do his thing. After the next 30 minutes, we laid it out, and it was like it was bad. It was awesome. I loved it.
So I'm excited to hear this record. We're going to go ahead and drop this Kokopelli Reflections, Icon Radio, Respect the Underground, and he will be at the Phoenix Hip Hop Fest. Tap in.
Representing like Washington Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though. Representing like Washington Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though. I'm from the one land where that one man said I want the whole piece. 1883, they still gon' pray for me. We ain't under modern day slavery. 22 came to be, come from out the world when we came to see. Last time I checked, Brian still saying to me, so therefore water is life. Life is water. June 14th, part of me was placed in a place where I never forget my name. Wintertime still be the same. Springtime may you blossom. Create a son, daughter with caution. Waking up, I'm a right though. I'm a night soul, she's a psycho. Exotic in the air, exotic like the care. Now in the air, in the trees, in the ground, in the flame. In my name, Kokopelli still the same. Might say PSA, Kokopelli still the same. Representing like Washington.
PSA, that's Peace Springs, Arizona.
Like Cardinal, I go harder though. Representing like Washington Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though. Representing like Washington Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though. Representing like Washington Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though.
Check it. I said I'm making connections. I said I'm up next. I said I'm Alaska native. You know what's best. I said I'm from Seattle native. Like what we do. I said I'm repping the clan. Yeah, I keep it true. I said I'm repping the light blue. Let's get it up. I said I'm rocking with Kokopelli. Like what's up? From the A to the Z, SCA-double-TLE. You're fucking with a native like me. What's up?
Hey, I tell you what it do.
Grizzly Brown. Shout out,
Grizz.
bumping through the speakers. Kokopelli on the track, clan bless the feature. Ayy, cause I'm freestyling, I wrote this in a minute.
See, he's like, cause I'm freestyling, I wrote this in a minute.
Studio
Hey, this shit
smoked
slap.
out, stoned out and grinning.
This is my
Motherfuckers
first time
talk
listening
shit
to
while I'm
native
fucking
hip hop, and
winning.
this shit slap.
Representing like Washington
Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though.
Representing like
Washington Redskin, Arizona like Cardinal, I go harder though. Hey, you know what's dope? I like too about this one too is there's that part right there. It's like representing like Washington Redskin. So like the thing about about Washington, I don't know if who's all familiar with that part, but Washington Redskin is like a lot of people, especially the NFL, you know, they caught that for putting on the Redskin. A lot of people were not really liking that, but I was like really unaware to that, you know what I mean, and that I didn't really know about that, but you know, I put it out there like fuck it, you know, like because if anybody like it ain't shit. I'm representing like I'm not really worried about it because a lot of people are worried about that.
So did you feel disrespected? Like a lot of people felt like it was disrespectful, that it was a dig at the natives, and that it was like being used in a derogatory form. Like as a Native American indigenous person, how did it make you feel?
I initially when I heard of this whole dispute, it was like I really didn't know how to feel about it. It just oblivious, like it was oblivious to me. You know, I was oblivious to it. You know what I mean? But as time went on, then I started to see as to why, I started to see personally. I started to like go in more, and I started to see as to how like forget the term. Let's just fuck the term. What's going on behind the term? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking like who's making money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so like maybe if they had donated some of the funds to some of the Native American tribes, you think it would have been received better?
Not even that. No, I mean, like I look at tribes now. I look at councils now. Look at sovereign nations now, and it's like they take money for whatever. But personally, for the other people, for the people that really felt some type of way about it, like. You know, I'm talking about like corporations, you know, getting money off of this image, this term. You know what I'm saying, or some shit like that. Like, all right, I can see where this goes now. You know what I'm saying? But not that. I mean, I can't. I mean, I personally wouldn't jump into it. But other people, like I came across other people, like people that are really into the activists. You know what I mean? I come across them and then I listen to them. I just have I keep it open minded, but. I really can't, like personally, I really can't put my energy towards a whole lot of that. You know what I mean? Towards a whole lot of what a lot of people are like. A lot of people will put a lot of hate into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And fuel themselves like off of that hate, and it's like, no. I said what I said, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it, and I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
I definitely feel that, and I appreciate you breaking that down and explaining to the people so they have the opportunity to hear from a Native individual, because a lot of times we base our opinions off of our own perspectives, and we have no real understanding because we lack the knowledge. We haven't talked to the people. We don't have a relationship with people, and we don't know where to find you. So can you tell us where to find you on all social media platforms? Drop your handle so people can find you, find your music, and connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. All on music platforms, Apple, Spotify, Kokopelli B. That's Kokopelli. Like, so you just got, that's one whole name, like Kokopelli B on those music platforms, and Kokopelli Beach on Facebook. Pelli Mane, that's Pelli Mane, Pellimane on IG. I got that one. PELLMANE on IG. Add me. Add you back. Tap that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I feel it. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out. And before we leave, I'm going to hit y'all with this Rissa Vibes Warrior World, because I feel like this song resonates a lot with the topic of conversation that we just had with Kokopelli. So we go ahead and bless y'all with Warrior World. This is Dymond Studded and Kokopelli, Icon Radio, Respect the Underground, Phoenix Hip Hop Fest.
Yeah.
Warriors so lifted, warriors of light, warriors so gifted, warriors unite. We have swam the rivers, sang under moonlight. We are nature's healers, we are cosmic sky. We got the power, we got the light, we got the fight, we got the power, we got the light, we got the fight, we got the power, we got the light, we got the fight, we got the power. We got the power, we're here to save the world, 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 world. We're here to save the world, 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 world. We will climb the mountains, download divine insight. Rise up from lands forsaken to cultivate new life. Connect with ancient keepers, gift us our magic rights. We honor our ancestors, for us they gave their life. We got the power, we got the light, we got the fight, we got the power, we got the light, we got the fight, we got the power, we got the light, we got the fight, we got the power.